Hello, this is Jessica Fox from Florida Virtual Bookkeeper, and today I want to talk to you about how you can streamline your year-end process in your bookkeeping business. So the problem, January is a nightmare trying to complete all of the regulatory stuff and compliance filings for your clients by the deadlines and being able to get their books closed out and ready for taxes. Here in the US, for us, that usually means filing 1099 forms. If we do payroll, we may have to do W-2s and all of that stuff that is required in a very limited period of time to get your clients ready for taxes. I usually at this time of year hear my colleagues commenting and lamenting and complaining about how overwhelmed they are, how stressed out they are, how much they have to do, how difficult it is to get information from clients contacting them at the last minute, and then scrambling to get everything done by the deadline. And I can relate. That used to be me a couple of years ago, and I don't miss those days. So I am here to tell you that there is a better way. This is the second year in a row where I have enjoyed a very smooth and relaxed and laid-back year-end process, despite the fact that I now serve twice as many clients as I did before I implemented these systems. So the solution is have systems and workflows. Anybody that has watched my videos before knows how important this is to me because it has made a world of difference in my business. These workflows allow you to eliminate the bottlenecks and streamline your process. So how do you do this? Well, first, identify what bottlenecks you specifically had in the last year, or think back to the last several seasons if you have been in business for a while. What is the most difficult part? What holds you up? What stresses you out the most? For me, it usually meant the fact that my clients will wait until the last minute to reply and get me the information that I needed. And then I had to scramble. For example, 1099s are due January 31st. I did not want to be having a client contacting me on January 27th saying, okay, here's the stuff, you can do it now. That was not going to fly anymore. Then start your planning in the off season. After my busy period ended, I reflected, evaluated, determined what needed to change, and made a plan that I put into action before the next busy season to prevent it from happening again. And take advantage of technology and automation. There are so many apps, so many tools that can help make this process easier for us, from setting reminders to setting up templates, or in my case, using automated workflows to help save me time on the administrative stuff and the back and forth. Establish boundaries with your clients. I really had to re-educate, retrain some of my clients and draw a line in the sand, so to speak, but I will tell you 100% of them got on with the program. So don't be afraid to redefine how the relationship has been working to make it work better for you. Get them involved. Once your client realizes that you are trying to make the process easier for everybody and that you're trying to prevent the stress for everybody, they will want to help you. And spoiler alert, in my case, there is a financial incentive as well. My clients are encouraged to get their act together early on because if they don't, there is a hefty rush fee that none of them want to pay. So that has worked very well for me. Then time block the process. If you're not familiar with how this worked, look for my video on time blocking. I go into more detail about how that works, but that did wonders in being able to spread out my workload, make sure that I had a gauge in capacity, and ensuring that I got everything done by the deadline without feeling overwhelmed about how much actually needed to be done. And then implement these plans. It's all great in theory, but trust me, once I buckled down and actually made a change, I really wish I hadn't dragged my feet and taken so long to do it. And then you want to assess it and tweak. This is my second year having systems and workflows. The first year was pretty good. I made some tweaks and improvements, and this year was even better. So just know that at least you can kiss goodbye to all of that overwhelm and all that stress and know that it can get better every year. So I want to show you my sample workflow. In this particular case, because I am in the US, I have to process 1099 for clients. This was my biggest bottleneck. I imagine my colleagues in Canada have similar issues with other compliance obligations. So don't feel like because my example is US specific, it doesn't apply to you. I'm pretty sure that you can take the framework and make it work for you. For those of you that don't know, I use 17 Hats as my workflow management software, but this can be done with any app. It can even be done in a more, I don't want to say primitive, but more old-fashioned method. Just know that the automation is really what has helped me keep up with this. So this workflow actually begins in the middle of the year, long before anybody is thinking about year-end. Why? Because it's normally the slow time of the year. And by then, I can start nipping problems in the bud. For my US colleagues, you probably know how difficult it can be to get W-9 form for vendors at the end of the year, especially if it's not a vendor that that client is using anymore. I start contacting my clients about this in the middle of the year. And in this workflow, once it's triggered on June 30th, it sends an email to the client. And because the 17 Hats, the templates, it's already pre-written, and it has tokens filled in to automatically customize the email to the clients. I don't need to do anything other than review it, to tweak it, and then send it. I could even have this sent automatically when I activate the workflow. But for me, I like to kind of tweak the wording, and I like to make it friendly to the client. So I may add something specific to their business. Like if it's their busy season, my wedding photographer, I'd be like, oh, I hope that you are having a fabulously productive and successful June. I know you're busy now. This is some things to keep in mind. You get what I'm saying. Clients tend to respond better if you continue nurturing that relationship with them. So yes, in June, long before the year is over, I am already starting to get them in the mindset that these are the things that we need in place. And I make a comment along the lines of, I know it's not year end yet, but time flies when you're having fun and making money. Let's get these things in place before time gets away from us. What this does is, by the time I touch base again in December, most of them already have their ducks in a row. And those that don't, they're not surprised. They saw this coming and they realized it was their fault, so they take personal responsibility for it. So then the next step is another automated email. In December, this is where I touch base with them, because not all of my clients engage me to do 1099 forms for them. Some of them may have them done by their payroll service because all of their contractors are paid that way. Other clients may have them done by their CPA or tax preparer, and some of them don't even realize that they need to do it. So I usually do a preliminary review of their file. I identify some potential candidates that may require a 1099, and I give them the heads up. 1099 form preparation is not part of my core services. It's a separate engagement. So I'm letting them know, hey, this is an obligation that you have coming up. If you need me to do this for you, this is how much it's going to cost you. And that way, the client has time to decide whether they're going to do it with me or not. Most of them do, a handful don't. They are aware of the obligations. I have the documentation in writing, and then they can take it from there. So in this workflow, I then document if the client declines the service, and then here I have a note to let me know that if they decline, I would delete the next phase. But in this scenario, I am assuming that they say, yes, I need you to do these forms for me. Once I mark this completed, once I documented it in the CRM that they reply to this, it automatically triggers a separate workflow. And this workflow applies to all clients, whether or not I'm doing the 1099s for, but it's a great automation. I don't have to remember to activate this other thing. This workflow I will show you in a moment, but before I do that, I just want to take you to the rest of it. So if the client says, yes, I need you to process the 1099s for me, wonderful. I just send them the contract. This is the pre-configured engagement letter specifically for these forms. All I need to do is click to send it, and it already has an email template to go with it. Once the client signs that, that's when I start working on the forms. And then I send a list of approval. This is based on your book, the vendors, the information that you provided me. This is what I need. Approve it. Once they do, I process the payment. Now, granted, I get paid in advance, but I don't bill until I know how many forms I am processing. I bill by the form, not by the hour. And once they approve that list, I get paid drafting the safe payment method that I have before I even complete and process the filings. So this is something that can help you a lot because the fee will vary depending on when they got me the information. In my workflow, in the email that I referred that I sent to them in December, the lowest price for me to process these forms, they have to get me everything, and I mean everything, by the first Friday of January. By the end of business, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, whatever date the first Friday of January is. If they come after that, there's an extra fee, and the fee will vary depending on how close we get to the deadline. So that by me having this workflow in place, they are informed in advance, they can plan accordingly, and there's no issue about me collecting the fee because it's spelled out in the agreement that they sign, and I already have the payment information on file. So this addresses a lot of the complaints that some of my colleagues have shared. So to show in more detail what my year-end workflow looks like, this is based on the pure bookkeeping system. You can create your own workflow if you are not a pure bookkeeping licensee, but one of the many benefits of becoming a licensee is you get this ready to implement. You do not have to reinvent the wheel. And as you can see, this is a thorough, complete review of the books. It's not just about the preparation of the forms, and it covers ensuring the accuracy of the profit and loss by a thorough review. It includes reconciling the balance sheet, not just the bank accounts and credit cards, all of the balance sheet, making sure that by the time these books go to the tax preparer, they are bulletproof. It gets everything that you need to get ready to give to the tax preparer, and it has the section on the specific steps on how to do the 1099 preparation. If the client declined that service from me, I simply delete this space and the rest of the workflow is still in place, making sure that I get all of the year-end reports that will be given to the tax preparer, documenting all changes to the entity, W-2s, W-3s, unemployment, everything that is needed. Nothing falls through the cracks. By the time that I am done with this file, those books are closed for the year. There's no need to go back to make any corrections except for the adjustments that the tax preparer may give me for something simple like depreciation or amortization. The tax preparer gets a packet. In my case, it's a digital package. In your case, it can be however you're used to working. And it's beautiful because I don't get a single question from the tax preparer. Everything is perfect. They don't have to make any cleanup, any adjustments. My clients love it because the tax preparer doesn't ask them a single thing about the numbers. They have everything they need to go. So for me, year-end is no longer a big deal. I hope that this information is helpful. I hope that you can take some guidance from it to help you implement your own workflows and systems so that you can also enjoy a smooth year-end process. As always, if you have any questions or concerns, I am only an email away. Jessica@floridavirtualbookkeeper.com. Have a nice day.